Welcome back to the Police Recruiting Show, sponsored by Safeguard Recruiting. This is the place where you're going to get all your recruiting answers. I have with me, as usual, Doug Larsen with Safeguard Recruiting. How you doing this week, Doug?
Doing excellent. Thanks for having me on, Travis.
Well, today's topic is going to be interesting. We're going to talk about billboards in recruiting. I know you have a lot to say about that, Doug. Before we get to that topic and whether it works, whether it doesn't work, and what you should be doing, is our success of the week. So, Doug, you got lots of clients out there. You guys are killing it, sending thousands of candidates and applicants to departments across the country. Give us a success story for this week.
Yeah, we are helping departments across the country, and we love to hear great stories back. Like we were on a call with a customer this week, and they had their best week ever so far in hiring. They hired 20 people off the campaign in just 1 week. We're not talking crossing the month or anything. In 1 week, they brought that many people on board, and they've been doing a great job taking the names we're sending them and turning them into applicants and getting them hired.
Man, that's pretty incredible, especially when you hear about the so-called recruiting crisis. So this agency, they were 50 down when you guys started with them a few months back, right? And now they hired 20 this week, but we don't know what they're hiring the week after and week after. That's just what they told you this week, right?
Exactly, and it's just going to keep building upon that, but that goes a long way towards punching into that deficit that they had and getting that many people on board. They're very excited.
What do you think the key to their success was? I know I know your company is sending them a ton of people that want to work for the department, but as you often talk about, it doesn't stop there. What do you think the key to their success, where they were able to hire that many so quick?
Yeah, so Travis, we're a partnership with any department we work with. We can generate the names, we can generate the interest in the department. We're very good at that, but it takes a lot of work on their end too, on how they nurture the candidate, how they prepare the candidate to go through the process and keep them engaged until they get them hired and through the rest of the process to actually out on the road. So the departments that really are successful have fine-tuned the process of how they engage with candidates, how they move them along in the process. And we help with that. We consult, we offer some training on it, best practices. But these guys are doing an excellent job of keeping candidates motivated and turn them into applicants.
Fantastic stuff. So our question of the week comes from LinkedIn. And we would encourage anybody that has a question, go to safeguardrecruiting.com, hit us up, ask the question. This one actually comes through LinkedIn on our messages. But this guy says, hey, listen, I see that you're sending plenty of candidates, but he said his cousin just tested in Ohio, and he went through the physical fitness part with 10 other people. And out of the 10 people, 9 out of 10 flunked the physical fitness requirements, usually push-ups, set-ups, run mile and a half, stuff like that. And he says, what are you going to do about that? If you send us, what's your answer to that, Doug?
Common problem, Travis, right? We've been seeing this all through our careers, all the way up. People come unprepared for the physical test. And what some people see as easy, not easy to a person that isn't used to working out, doesn't know how to train for the events that are going to take place. A lot of departments are doing, successful departments are, they're helping these candidates out. So they're giving them opportunities to come in and train with the staff. They're giving them opportunities to come in and practice and prepare for the test. But there's other answers too. And even through Safeguard, we offer those answers where we have training programs we can push out through our academy, and we can get some personalized training to these people to help them get ready for this event.
Yeah, I know you guys are working on the Safeguard Academy, which is pretty exciting, Doug, because you've seen the drop-off. You can send people all these candidates, but if they don't take those candidates and keep informing them and educating them, helping them out with the testing, helping them out with the physical fitness stuff, there's a drop-off. So it's much more efficient for the department to not lose candidates because they're having to pay to get the candidates. So if you can help them retain the candidates, that's more bang for the buck, is it not?
Exactly. We want to maximize the conversion of interest into a candidate into an applicant, into a hire. And in order to do that, there's a lot of steps in this process that got to take place. We got to eliminate some of the stress of the hiring process. People from the outside don't understand what they've got to go through to become a law enforcement officer. And sometimes in their own mind, they'll eliminate themselves. And so communication up front is key to keep people engaged and not let them, let's say, beat themselves up in the process and say, I might have something in my background, or I'm not prepared to move forward right now. So having a mentor, having a contact with the department is huge, but also having the preparation tools for the written exams, the physical exams, what's expected of you. That's part of what we found. There's needs in departments, and we're just filling those gaps for them.
Man, that's fantastic stuff. So any questions anybody has, reach out to you, SAFEGUARDRECRUITING.com, hit you up on LinkedIn, Facebook, number of ways, but the website's obviously the easiest. And we'll either answer your question right then and there, or we'll bring it right here on the show. This is the place to come if you want to solve your recruiting issue. I have this sort of heartburn because everyone talks about this big recruiting crisis. We just need to be informed and move on the right path. And that brings us to our topic of the week, Doug. I know you've been looking forward to talking about this one, billboards and bus ads. Billboards and bus ads. And let me tell you a quick joke before I get into this. How do I know when a community is having problems recruiting? And here's how I know, because I do a lot of traveling around the country. I see a lot of billboards with the department on it because I know how ineffective they are. And in fact, I won't name the city. I was just in a major city a few weeks ago, and there were billboards everywhere. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this type of marketing. And so I immediately made a phone call to somebody I knew in the department. I said, let me guess, you're down in recruiting. He goes, dude, you don't even want to know how bad it is. I go, I know, because you're running billboards, right? Is anybody putting two and two together? We're running all these billboards, and we keep hurting with recruiting. So we don't want to badmouth people that are doing that, Doug. They're doing the best they can, but just throwing money at the issue isn't always going to solve it. So why don't your billboards, and then my best one is the bus ads. We see a lot of bus ads around the country, right? Why don't they work for law enforcement recruiting?
Well, the billboards and the bus ads look great. I mean, I see them all over the place too, and they're up there. But they're not as efficient as a targeted digital campaign that we advocate. So if you want to run billboards, you want to run bus ads, that shouldn't be your first priority. Man, that's something down the line that you're going to follow up through, try and generate a little bit more interest. But here's a few problems you got with the billboard and the bus ad. Are they reaching the proper people? I mean, how many times do we need to get somebody to drive by, look at our billboard or have the bus drive by and they see our ad before they actually take action? Are they going to remember to take action later on when they're available to do that, after they've seen the bus drive by? And here's a big one that we keep running across when we're dealing with our clients is they're paying for billboards, they're paying for bus ads, and they're having a lot of difficulty tracking success from that. So they've got a lot of money going out, but they can't really tie back in successes. I got this candidate because of my billboard. And that's somewhat of an issue when you're going after a budget down the road.
Yeah, we were just talking to a client, and they were doing the billboards, doing all this stuff. And he said his recruiting, I said, well, is it working? Well, I don't know. I said, well, let me ask you this question. What was your applicant numbers before you ran the campaign? He gives a number. What are your applicant numbers now? And it was literally the same, right? So it's obvious that it wasn't doing anything. But even if the applicant numbers would have been up, you wouldn't know if it was coming from those ads. So there's really no return on investment. You can't really go to a city council or to your politicians and say, we need more of this, because it's just, you can't track it. And the other issue that I can see is you're literally like, what's your target audience at a billboard? You know, the billboard companies will brag that millions and millions of people are seeing your ad, right? Just think about when you driving down the road, Doug. Are we really paying that close of attention? Is it really that important to us when we see all these? It's almost like you see so many of them, you don't even pay attention to them. So they can brag about how many eyes are on it, but how many of those eyes are your target audience? And if it is your target audience, how many people are going to take action that night when they get home or the next day and remember the billboard? I mean, if people don't believe me, just think about the last time you made a decision based on a billboard. you probably have never made a decision based on the billboard. And by the way, we're not talking about this to try to badmouth people doing it. Your company would do it if it worked, because there's lots of money to be made in these marketing ideas, right? Like you would get together with these, because people don't know this, but most of the billboards are only owned by a hand select few companies. They have billboards across the country. It's not some local company that owns the billboards, right? Don Ray Media, the other companies, big, large media companies will own all these billboards. So you as your company does, you could call them up, get a cut rate to sell a bunch of these and get a discount rate, inflate the rate to retail to your customers, and you would make money off billboards. But you don't push the billboards for that very reason, right?
Yeah, exactly. When we consult, we come in and work with a department. We're going to work on maximizing your spend, your budget, and that is not a priority for us to be able to attract people to work for you.
So we talk about tracking. How do you do it at Safeguard? When people hire you, how does your client know that this is, like you just gave a success story, they hired 20 people. They were able to tie that directly to you. How are they able to do that?
Yeah, exactly. So when we run a digital marketing campaign for you, first thing we do is we give you a live dashboard. You know exactly where each candidate's coming from, their demographics, and you need this information in order to make month-to-month good decisions on how you're going to spend your money, what type of candidate you're going to try to recruit, and what areas you're going to recruit, because you need to know what's working for you, what's not working for you. So that's one piece of what we're going to give. We also have the metrics on everything we run for you. Every ad, you know how many impressions were there, you know how many people clicked through, you know how many people applied, and it all comes through, because if you don't have this information, now you're just throwing money out and you don't have justification for it. You don't have a way to go in and ask for more funds if you need more impressions, you need more candidates. So we're going to give you all that information, and we're going to have a recruiting strategist that works directly with your department to solve your individual needs, so your campaign is completely dialed in 100% for you. And you'll know exactly what type of ad resonates with the people that you're attracting, what's working, what's not working. It's actually pretty interesting to follow through and see how it all works and get on the back end of it and see all the numbers. It's really interesting what works and what resonates.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I've looked at the back end before, Doug, and it's kind of cool to see the campaign go up. You see the names come in, because you also give software. Your software, they see the name come in, the name, all the contact information. Then you see the contacts with them in the agency. Then you see them in the application portal. So you can track them all the way from the beginning, and they're getting names that wouldn't have normally even known about the department. That is a key difference in recruiting, right? Like, we're not talking about the 70 or 80% of people that are going to apply at your department no matter what. That's built in, that's caked in. You're going out and grabbing the 20 or 30% of the people that hadn't even thought of it through your targeting metrics. It's kind of cool to see somebody from 3 states away that's ex-military or whatever, or they're a mechanic and they see the ad, they come through, you can see they have a clean background, you can see they're motivated. And the next thing you know, just like you said from your success cases this week, they're hired. And they came from that campaign. So I know you're fulfilling, it's pretty neat to see happening, because you can track it from A to Z, so to speak.
Yeah, so we're really going after that passive job seeker that hasn't really locked in that they want to be in law enforcement. They may be sitting kind of on the fence, but they haven't taken those steps of walking through the door, filling out the application, going to the website themselves. So we're targeting those people and we're getting them information. And then to make it more efficient for the department, we're filtering on the backside, because they don't need people that can't qualify for their job to be in the process anywhere in the loop where their recruiters are going to be dealing with them. So we find it very important too. Not only do we know where this name came from, we grab a bunch of necessary information from them. It immediately goes to the department, but we help out until the recruiter can get involved by sending some messages to let the candidate know, hey, we are interested. We see that you're interested in our department. We're interested in you too, and we're going to be contacting you by these methods. Look for information via these routes within this time frame. And it's very important to keep that pipeline, that connection with the candidate so they don't move on to another opportunity. And they like the fact that the department is immediately getting in touch with them and gaining traction with them. It adds to the success.
Fantastic stuff. Doug Larsen, Safeguard Recruiting, real recruits, real results. It's pretty awesome what you're doing. You guys just wrote out an online seminar that really dives into all these topics. Where can they find that training at to be able to really get a much deeper on the issues we're talking about today?
Yes, if you go to our website, we've got it's a 2-hour course that's up, and it dives pretty deep into a lot of the issues surrounding recruiting in the modern age, adapting to the new technologies out there, the new generations, and it brings it all together for you and even gives you some pitfalls of things to stay away from. That, there's no need for us to make the same mistakes over and over between all of our departments. So we put this training together. It's up online. You go in there, grab it, and it'll help you out. And if you got questions, reach out to us, and we'll answer whatever we can to help your department out.
What I love about the training is you're using real departments, using real case studies. Like, you're not just up there talking about what needs to be done. You're giving real examples of failures and successes, and that everybody can learn from. Good stuff, man. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.